structure of the game. So we're doing just a mission, and it's how many missions, how many campaigns. Like,
Here we go. Here's the time, maybe.
So there are 12 missions arranged into 4 different campaigns. They're all story-driven. It's all tied together into one story about what's going on Katanga and LV-895. And each of the campaigns takes place in a different location, different enemies.
Oh, he's hemmed up right there.
Different environments.
Okay, so different environments. That's good.
Campaigns.
What's the hourly number though, man? How many hours?
Is it how long is it for each campaign? Like the idea to kind of together with.
He's trying to easily ask that question. He's being very easy about asking it.
Campaigns end up being a little bit longer than an hour to run through. But yeah, I mean, session-wise, it's going to be up to how much you're going to be playing, whether or not it's just a pick-up at night or whether or not it's a longer session on Saturday. We got a lot coming.
I imagine the difficulty will alter that as well.
So he said a little more than an hour for each campaign.
And the big changes really come once you start leveling your kits and your weapons up. So one of the things that
Depending on difficulty and depending on how you play, obviously. But if you get good and you're beating it in an hour and a half, I mean, an hour. If it was an hour long for 4 campaigns, it's only 4 hours. Throw another half hour on each of those 4, it adds you another 2 hours, so 6 hours. Man, that seems pretty short, dude. I mean, maybe the replayability for like leveling up your higher level difficulty stuff, but what do you get for it?
So there is a progression, even though the idea is to keep running the campaigns over and over with your friends.
Yes. Yeah, each kit ends up leveling up. There are different perks so that you can end up customizing your kits, change out what your weapon, what your abilities end up being like. Well, I'm gonna knock this guy back. I'm getting distracted through all the questions. Look at my health.
Yeah, it's tough to get interviewed and play this game at the same time.
That doesn't, unless I'm misunderstanding something there. It sounds like to me for the base, your first run through, you could probably beat all the campaigns in potentially 6 hours, maybe even less. Man, that's short, dude.
If you didn't grab ammo, there's a crate over here.
That seems so short. Like, I get these games are all about replaying and stuff, but I mean, I was thinking like at least like 10 hours maybe for the base, to run through it the first time.
So, in terms of replayability,
Here we go, replay. Yeah. Let's listen to this.
The difficulty levels add a lot. As you level up your weapons and your kits, you get to change things out, move up in difficulty and advance that way. All of the different systems and mechanics within the game itself to change the missions as you play them. One of the other things we're really excited about is the challenge card system.
Talk about that. I saw that in the menu, but we didn't really get a chance to play with that here.
There are dozens of these in games, and there are these cards that you can play at the beginning of missions.
We got you.
Thank you.
Cards that you can play at the beginning of missions that really mutate the missions. They're really like mutators to the gameplay. They can do things like adding like cool, interesting screen overlays, but then they can do things like making it so that body shots do nothing, and all you can do is headshots or weak point shots throughout the entire mission.
I mean, that's kind of.
When you play these challenge cards, you end up getting more rewards, more XP, more attachments, more cosmetics as you successfully complete missions with all these challenge cards.
Okay, so the cosmetic and ability stuff is cool and all that, but that other stuff he was talking about, like the getting overlays for your HUD or making only headshots. I mean, that's all well and good, but man, dude, 6 hours is not long.
The campaign looks like. I imagine you're not just on a ship for all 4 missions.
Oh well.
No,
I mean,
you do get to go to.
I guess it really will boil down to what's this game going to be priced? Is it going to be a full $60 for the game, or is it going to be $40? I don't know. I don't think that they've said that. All right, I'll look at that. That may already be verified. I'll have to check that though. See if there's a price. I doubt it's an alpha. I doubt they released a price yet. But for a full price, if it's full price for 6 hours, you're paying $10.
All right, so far so good.
To be
I found
critical,
another hidden
you're
cache.
paying $10
Oh, nice.
an hour to play the
Go
game.
Flag it.
Because there's a lot of people that are going to play it, beat the main campaign,
There's something on
and
the radar.
they may play a little bit,
Yeah.
their way back through it.
I got it.
But
You got behind.
Stragglers.
if there's not a lot of reason to play back through it, then a lot of people aren't going to do it. It's just is what it is. The gameplay looks fun though, man. Like I want to play it,
Nice.
but
All right, I gotta go.
I just hope there's enough content, to justify $60 if you're going to pay $60. That's a lot of money for anything. A game, to me, is a lot of money for a game too. That's just my opinion. But I mean, so $60, you need to get like a shooter. To me, fair for a shooter like this, or really any shooter. If you don't have a especially if there's not a multiplayer like this. This is the multiplayer basically, which it probably is. Something like this for $60, man. You need to have between 10 and 20 hours worth of content. And I get, like I said, there's replayability in the sense of unlocking cosmetics and getting, the HUD overlays or whatever. But
The thermal sentry.
I don't think that's going to be enough, man, to keep people interested. All right, so that was the Aliens Fireteam 25 minutes of gameplay footage provided by IGN. And I liked it. I liked what I saw. The only thing that kind of concerns me is whenever they were talking about the length of the game. So the guy said, and you could tell the way that he was kind of asking the question, he was sort of trying to ask it without just straight up asking, like, hey, how many hours is this game for a playthrough, standard playthrough? So he went with like, hey, how many hours or how long is each campaign? Because he knew the guy told him there was 4 campaigns. So he said, how long will it take to beat each campaign? It's like an hour, 2 hours. What's the time frame for each campaign? And the guy said a little over an hour. Now that obviously could vary depending on your team's skills or what difficulty you're playing on, stuff like that. But for a basic run through, man, an hour, let's just say he said a little over an hour. So let's say hour and a half. At an hour and a half, at 4 hours, that would be about 6 hours of gameplay, in-game gameplay. Now, granted, that doesn't count like customizing stuff, or if there is anything like that. I didn't even see them swapping guns. I'm pretty sure you don't switch guns during the mission or anything like that. You probably pick a pre-loadout, and that pre-loadout is dependent on your class. But they probably have multiple guns for each, loadout or class that you can choose from. And then that's what you use the whole mission. So you're saying 6 hours. That's really my biggest concern right now with it. I know it's super early. They're in alpha, and I know this is all kind of sort of speculation, but not, because he did say hour and a half in 4 campaigns. But that just seems kind of short to me. And here's the thing, though. It seems short to me if it's a $60 game. Because at $60, you're going to be paying basically for the first playthrough, on average, you're going to be paying $10 an hour, pretty much, to play the game. And that just seems a little high, in my opinion. And I'm no game dev, I'm no, anything like that. But in my opinion, just as being a gamer since I've been like 12, and just playing these games and seeing what all is available, like a shooter like this, if you're going to pay $60, needs to go anywhere from 10 to 15 hours. Just in my opinion, if there's not a lot of replayability. Now, if you play the 6 hours and there's a lot of replayability, a lot of reason to come back to the missions you've already played, which I don't know if there's going to be, because here's the thing. The mission levels won't change. And it seems like the way that this game is structured, at least the mission that they played, is very... I don't know how much they can adjust where the enemies attack from or when you get attacked. Now, they can adjust, and they said they would, by difficulty, the types of enemies. So, obviously, if you raise the difficulty up, they're going to get a little bit tougher. You may have more of a higher level enemy spawning in the game as you're playing. But if you're playing on default, my guess is, and I could be wrong, but my guess is if you're playing on default, you could play it, back to back, and it's pretty much going to be the same. Like I said, it may change just a little bit, but I don't think the major thing is they can't really change where the enemies, more than likely, are going to spawn. Because these are like set events, right? You have to go here, defend this, set up turrets. You got to go here, defend this to get out of here. The only time that they could change really any of that kind of stuff up as far as where enemies spawn from and when you get attacked is as you're getting to those locations. But yeah, like I said, that's really the only thing that concerns me right now. The game, even in alpha, looked playable. I mean, that may have been a more polished experience for them to do that, which is fine. I mean, but it was obviously still an alpha, and it looks playable. It looks fun. It just looks like one of those games that, you know, you get 2 other buddies with you to play. I wish it was 3 other buddies. I'm pretty sure I said this on my trailer reaction. But why are all these games going to 3-player squads? Why don't they just go from like 3 to 5-player squads or 2 to 4-player squads? It used to be 4 all the time, 4 to 5. I don't really understand why all these companies are doing that now. I mean, if you can do it, why not? I know balancing wise it makes it different. Maybe 3 is a sweet spot for a lot of these games. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a developer, but I know personally I got friends that, you know, I could have 4 or 5 people wanting to play this. And the thing is, it's that kind of game. It's the kind of game that, like, the more people you have with you, the more fun you're going to have. You know, it's just that kind of game. This isn't really going to be a game that you're going to play by yourself and have a whole lot of enjoyment. This is a co-op social style game. So I wish it was more than 3 players. But all that being said, those few negatives, positives are like gameplay looks good. The weapons look cool. I'm glad that they have the turrets. I'm glad that each class has separate abilities they can use, and I'm also glad that they added in the fact that even if you aren't a technician whose ability recharges to have a turret, you can still pick up turrets throughout the mission. Because turrets are going to be key in a lot of these defensive spots. I did notice that the turrets go down pretty quick, so gameplay-wise, if they don't adjust the health of the turrets and how much damage they can take, you're going to want to protect those turrets whenever you lay them out. You don't want them to go down too fast, especially in the later levels, more than likely. But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed the video. I know that this has been a long video, so if you guys hung in there all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to be keeping track of this game. If I see any more gameplay or anything like that come up, I'll probably be doing reactions or just talking about the game, stuff like that, because I'm a big Aliens fan. And ever since the last Colonial Marine style came out and was just awful, I've been waiting for another good, fun Colonial Marines, Aliens, shooter, fun game. So I've been waiting on. So I'm excited for it. I just hope that, you know, there's enough content there